So how do you start? You start by defining what that sum is.
Yeah.
So, and A, you'll find it's less than you think,
Yeah.
and B, you'll find that in a couple of years' time, you'll appreciate that the sum that you set out was much lower than can be achievable. So for most people, it's kind of 2 to 5 grand a month. Some people say I want to earn 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month, but kind of covering the bills, making sure you're super safe is usually about 2 to 5 grand, right? Maybe up to 10.
Yeah.
Well, that's 2 to 5 HMOs. HMOs, house of multiple occupation. Every single one of my houses, apart from 7, makes over £1,000 a month profit. So that's between 2 houses and 5 houses.
Yeah.
You know, and when you break it down that way, it's like, well, that's kind of simple, isn't it? And there are a couple of different ways that you can do it. I have a 2-bed flat, a 2-bedroom flat that makes over £1,000 a month profit. Why? Because it's service accommodation. I also have a number of shared houses, HMOs, houses of multiple occupations, a whole load of them, and they make 1,000 each. And so by defining what you want and then going, so what is the thing in property that can give me that for the least amount of effort and the most amount of profit, then you can set out your strategy. Because there's no point figuring out what am I going to buy now and not having figured out, well, where do I want to be? You know, like you said, I want to travel for a couple of months in 5 years' time. So then we go, well, that's where you want to be. So let's, and we know that in an ideal world, we want each property to make over £1,000 a month. And how many do you want of them? Let's just say 5. Now, how much do they cost? How much have you got? Is there a gap? There usually is, because there just is. So what's your deposit? Usually 25% of the property purchase price. What's your refurb money? What are the additional costs? There probably is a gap. You might not have all that money to buy all 5 of them. So now, how much of that do you need to raise through private individuals to lend you the money? So that then becomes your fundraising. That's why I wrote the fundraising pack. That's your fundraising strategy. And also, I don't want you buying them at market value because you'll run out of money really quickly. I want you buying them discounted so that after 6 months you can refinance them, pull all or most of your cash back out so that you can use the same money 6 months later to buy the next house. And that's why I wrote the deal sourcing pack, so that people can understand how to write the deal sourcing pack. And not to go on too much, but how to start. That's right, why I wrote the business planning pack. So that's like, well, how do I write a plan for property? How do I get started? And then what do I deliver? So going back to your question, we define what you want. Let's just say it's 5 grand a month, keep life easy. We say, well, that's 5 properties. Okay, so now you need to source 5 properties. Do you have enough money? Yes or no? Okay, so now you need to raise some money. Okay, who is going to manage those properties? What kind of properties are they going to be? HMOs, single lets, service accommodation. Do you have somebody externally to manage them? So you build your team, or you're going to manage them yourself? Well, that doesn't fit with your travel. So you need to find great letting agents to manage them, or great service accommodation, and then start. So how many investors do I need? Great, run a fundraising campaign. How many people do I need to meet? How many people do I need to have coffees with? It's a numbers game. 1 in 20 on average will give you 50 grand. So if you need 50 grand, meet 20 people, follow the process that I wrote about in my fundraising pack. Deal sourcing for every deal. If you're buying from auctions, 1 in 4 you'll buy from an auction, or 1 in 100 phone calls that you make to estate agents, you'll buy from estate agents. So do you see, by going, I want to be free in 5 years to travel. Okay, let's just say it's 5 grand. So I need 5 houses. Okay, let's get you 5 houses. You make 500 phone calls, or you go to auction to try and buy 20 houses and you'll buy 5. Do you see how simple the maths is? 500 divided by 100 phone calls to estate agents is 1 deal. 20 houses you're trying to buy at auction divided by 1 in 4 that statistically you'll buy 5. So that's your business plan. Okay, I need to raise X amount of money, say it's 500,000. Well, that's 10 investors, because on average they'll give you 50 grand each. And I've given people, like, in all the different packs I've written, like the deal sourcing pack, like the fundraising pack, I just break down the maths. And the more and more I've taught other people through workshops and mentoring, I discover that the numbers are the same. It's industry statistics, it's not me, you know, which is great for you, because you just follow that and deliver, basically. All right, guys, now you know how to get started in property. For step number 1, go to the next vid and we'll show you how sourcing discounted deals works. That's where you make your money.